Hey everyone! I recently saw a video from Doodlebud here on YouTube of him discussing his favorite fountain pen pairings, and I thought it was such a fun and interesting idea. I just got into fountain pens and inks earlier this year, and so I wanted to go ahead and share some of my favorite pairings so far. Starting off with the Benu Talisman Edelweiss fountain pen. This body is made from a black and turquoise resin with holographic flakes and sparkles as well. The nib is a stainless steel Schmidt No. 6 nib, and I have this in a medium nib size. As you'll notice throughout this video, I do try and match the inks to the fountain pen bodies. Some are closer matches than others, but it was certainly a big contributor for some of these pairings. The ink that I've been truly enjoying in this fountain pen is this Wearingeul Tinkerbell ink, which is a soft green-gray color with gold and silver sparkles. Though the ink isn't a perfect match to the turquoise body, I love the soft green color along with the glitter, which I think complements the body of the pen. I also find that this ink behaves very well in this pen despite there being glitter. I haven't experienced any clogging with this ink either, which makes the writing experience very enjoyable. However, I do make sure to wash out and clean the nib and feed every 3 to 4 weeks just to help prevent any clogging or dried particles. With that routine, I always have such a smooth and comfortable writing experience with this combination. The ink itself is quite light and may not be ideal for fine or extra fine nibs, but my favorite way to use this pairing is actually to make headers, specifically with faux calligraphy. It's very enjoyable to write with, and the ink has a bit of shading to it as well, which just makes the faux calligraphy even more satisfying to look at. I usually like to use this pairing to write quotes, lyrics, or the date and time of my journal entries. This has to be one of my favorite pairings on this list because ever since I filled this pen with this ink, I haven't felt the desire to swap it out since, and I've probably refilled it like 4 or 5 times in a row now. I think what truly does it for me is that the pen doesn't ever get clogged. It only ever writes smoothly and easily, and I love that the glitter in the ink is reminiscent of the shimmer on the body. The next pairing is my Jinhao 10 in the caramel orange body with Talisman and Autumn Oak. Now, I do want to preface that I have a love-hate relationship with this combination. Starting off with what I love, I absolutely adore how this pairing looks together. I feel like these two were just made for each other. Autumn Oak is a stunning rusty orange color that often shades quite intensely. Depending on how saturated the color is, it can range from a burnt sienna color to a muted orange all the way to a golden yellow. It's such a fascinating color that is so rich and autumnal. And with the gradient on the Jinhao 10, these are quite literally the different shades within the Autumn Oak ink. I just felt like they were meant to be together, visually. In terms of what I dislike about this pairing, unfortunately, I just don't think that this combination was meant to be performance-wise. I voiced this concern with the Jinhao 10 before in that I found that whatever ink I fill it with, if I don't write with the pen after 2 days or longer, the nib is either completely dried up and won't write anymore or has the issue of hard starting. I have no experience with any other retractable fountain pen, so I'm not sure if this is a universal issue or just specifically with these Jinhao 10s, since they're a little bit more on the affordable end. But I suspect that the door that protects the nib when it's retracted doesn't completely keep air out of the pen, and then the ink dries up or evaporates from the nib. I've tried a couple suggestions to mediate this, but I've had no success to keep the ink flowing smoothly. Aside from the pen issues, there's also the issue with orange inks, where due to the pigments used, and if the ink isn't tightly sealed, they can crust and solidify after the water evaporates. So having to contend with this quality, as well as being a retractable fountain pen that also just doesn't seal well, it's unfortunately just setting both of these products up for failure. So that's truly a big downside to this combination. However, after the pen's been cleaned and the ink has been freshly filled, the fine nib of this pen does write quite smoothly and allows the ink to shade very beautifully. So despite all the issues that this combination is up against, when everything does work properly, the result is truly divine and the color matching just speaks to my soul. So I'll reluctantly put up with this fight to be able to enjoy this pairing, as this rusty orange color is just one of my absolute favorite colors in the world. My next pairing is the TWSBI Eco Amazonite with Diamine's Celadon Cat. TWSBI Ecos are what started my love for fountain pens, since I really love the ease of the piston fill mechanism. I also love the colored caps and piston knobs, but it's not too overwhelmed with color because then it's sectioned off by this clear demonstrator portion that allows you to see how much ink you have left, remind you of what ink is in the pen if you have multiple inked up pens, remind you to agitate your pen if you're using a shimmery ink, and it allows you to simply admire the ink inside the pen, especially if it is a shimmery ink. I especially love this minty seafoam green color with the marbled white and turquoise swirled throughout, and I thought it paired nicely with Diamine's Celadon Cat, which is a muted bluish green-gray color. It's such an ethereal and dreamy color that I really enjoy seeing come out of this pen. They're not the same color by any means, but they pair very well in my eyes and are similar in the very least. The ink shades quite intensely, which I really love, and paired with this medium nib size, the nib writes very smooth and soft on the page, which is just delightful. I really don't know what else to say about it. The next pairing is something I definitely wanted to bring to life when I saw this pen, and so it's perhaps the closest match in terms of ink. The pen is the Platinum Prefounte in the Night Sea color. So when I first saw this pen in color online, it instantly made me think of the Heart of the Ocean necklace from Titanic, which was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen when I was watching the movie as a child. So I was hellbent on trying to find an ink that would match it, and I stumbled on Diamine's Enchanted Ocean, which is just absolute perfection. I never really considered myself a fan of blue before, but this combination together in this deep blue color, I've just been obsessed. The Platinum Prefounte is certainly the most affordable pen on this list, but it doesn't need to be any fancier. It's a basic but solid fountain pen. I love the deep blue color and the fact that it's transparent, which is personally why I love it so much, because it adds that illusion of depth similar to water. The nib is also a medium size, which is perfect for the shimmery Diamine Enchanted Ocean ink, which is essentially the same deep blue color, but with silver shimmer to emulate the glistening ocean waters. This also pairs beautifully with the silver metallic hardware on the pen, such as the clip and nib. With the medium nib, this pen and ink combo write incredibly smooth, and the ink is very well behaved. It never feels rough or scratchy when writing, and I never experience any clogging with this combination. So truly, this pairing was mostly to bring to life the Heart of the Ocean to pen form and realize a piece of my childhood into adulthood. The next pairing is another TWSBI, but this is the TWSBI Diamond 580 Iris, which again has the demonstrator but also has these gorgeous iridescent accents throughout the body. Because of the iridescent features, you can easily pair this with a variety of different colors, but I noticed that I really enjoyed the look of a soft pink ink paired with this pen. I've tried a couple of different options, but I found that the Colorverse Brunch Date has been my favorite ink with this pen so far. When I first got this pen, I noticed how smooth and soft this medium-sized nib wrote. I described it as plush because it felt so soft on the page, in a good way, like it hardly needed any effort, and it wrote beautifully. I still agree that it's such a pleasant writing experience, and I really love it paired with this soft peachy pink ink. The experience of writing with this combination is so tranquil and enjoyable. I love the tone of this muted ink, and I love the shading property as well. This combination puts me in such a relaxed and effortless mindset while writing. And for the last pairing, it's the Monteverde and Vincia Black Sparkle City Fountain Pen with a black Yovo No. 6 medium nib, along with Sailor Yurameku Kanyo. Now as you can see, I currently only have a sample of this, but I do plan on picking up a full-size bottle once I'm finished with this sample. This pen is covered in holographic glitter and layered over this stealthy black body. It's stunning to look at, and it writes smoothly with absolutely no scratchiness. The ink I've paired it with is a delicate muted purple blue-gray. What I love about this pairing is the shading of the ink. how it can shift between several dreamy and ethereal colors and look so incredibly captivating without the need for shimmer, which interestingly contrasts yet simultaneously complements the intense glitter tightly packed on the pen body. In other words, the pen and ink are in some ways complete opposites, but are also quite similar, which in my opinion form a beautiful harmony. So those are my recent favorite fountain pen pairings. I hope that you enjoyed hearing me geek out about these things. I would love to know if you have any favorite fountain pen and ink combinations, and if so, please share them down below and we can chat about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.